Today, Apple drops an M5 power trio for MacBook Pro, iPad Pro, and Vision Pro. Google DeepMind turns text into 8-second videos with sound, and Waymo targets fully driverless rides in London by 2026. Hosted by a voice clone of Resonant Works founder Shannon Leonard, plus a robot who is contractually obligated to be here.
Shiny chips, talking videos, driverless taxis. I feel extremely obsolete.
Those stories and more on this episode of New Tech Nightly, produced from the Big Pink Building in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. Let's get into the tech news. Wired reports that Apple quietly unveiled 3 flagship devices powered by its new M5 chip, including a refreshed 14-inch MacBook Pro, an updated iPad Pro, and an upgraded Vision Pro headset. Apple says the M5 is built on a 3-nanometer process with a 10-core GPU and neural accelerators in each core, delivering over 4 times peak GPU performance on AI tasks compared to last year's M4, a 15% faster CPU, and higher memory bandwidth for larger on-device models. In plain terms, image generation and local language models should run much quicker.
4 times faster, still opens the same spreadsheet.
Apple highlights practical perks as well. The new MacBook Pro can last up to 24 hours on a single charge for light use. The iPad Pro adds Apple's N1 wireless chip for Wi-Fi 7 and faster 5G. Vision Pro gets sharper visuals with 10% more pixels and refresh rates up to 120 Hz, while battery life stretches to about 2.5 hours of use. The iPad Pro still comes in 11-inch and 13-inch sizes, and the hardware designs stay familiar. Apple and Wired frame these as refinement releases aimed at power users and developers, rather than radical redesigns. All 3 products are available to pre-order now and ship on October 22, 2025. The challenge is turning raw speed into features people can feel, especially while the Vision Pro stays a $3,499 device for early adopters.
For that price, I expect existential dread in HDR.
Expect developers to show over the next year whether the M5 unlocks new on-device AI experiences that justify the upgrade. Moving on to our next story.
From headsets to hubs, surveillance moves in.
Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, cited by McRumors, reports Apple is building a smart home lineup centered on a 7-inch display hub that acts like a HomePod with a screen. It would run apps, control appliances, handle FaceTime calls, and personalize responses by recognizing different household members. 2 versions are in development, a wall-mounted unit and a tabletop model with a speaker base.
A 7-inch screen to watch you sleep.
McRumors says Apple finished the product last year and planned a March 2025 launch, then delayed it because the more advanced Siri it relies on will not be ready until early 2026. Price could land around $350, which is higher than many rival smart displays. Operations teams are exploring cost cuts, but this is likely to remain a premium device tied tightly to the Apple ecosystem. Apple is also said to be working on a home security camera for late 2026 and a tabletop robot for 2027 with a 9-inch screen on a motorized arm that can reposition to follow a user.
Great. A robot to judge my posture.
In a notable shift, Apple plans to build these new products in Vietnam with BYD, signaling ongoing supply chain diversification beyond China. The risks include whether Siri can meet expectations, whether buyers will pay a premium in a crowded market, and whether Apple can execute on a mobile home robot. If Apple nails the integration and polish it is known for, it could carve out a high-end niche in the smart home. Next up, Google DeepMind is pushing AI video to the next level.
Finally, moving pictures with moving guilt.
Google says its Veo 3.1 model can generate 8-second videos at 720 or 1080p with native audio from a text prompt. That means synchronized sound effects, ambient noise, and even characters that speak in lip sync, a significant step beyond the silent clips common in earlier tools.
At last, videos that can talk back.
Creators get more control. DeepMind's documentation shows you can guide style with up to 3 reference images, set first and last frames to shape the shot and extend a sequence by continuing the last second for longer flow. In Google's demo tool called Flow, people have chained clips into minute plus videos with coherent transitions that hold a character's look and lighting over multiple shots. New editing features let you insert elements into a generated scene, with lighting and shadows adjusted so additions blend naturally. Google says object removal is coming, which would let you erase items and have the model fill the background. The promise is cinematic control rather than quick novelty. Google reports stronger prompt adherence and more realism than prior versions, and early independent tests say Veo 3.1 maintains consistency better on longer sequences than some rivals. The limits are real. Default outputs cap at 8 seconds. Building longer sequences takes stitching and significant compute. The tools run through Google's cloud, and many features are still experimental. There are broader concerns about deepfakes and copyright that are not fully addressed in this announcement.
8 seconds of glory, hours of compute bills.
If Google continues to improve length, control, and cost, Veo could become a practical tool for short films, ads, and game cutscenes guided by human direction. Moving on to our next story, Anthropic is mixing big and small models for speed and savings.
Delegation is just blame with extra steps.
AI Business reports that Anthropic released Claude Haiku 4.5, a small model tuned for cost and latency that performs coding tasks about as well as Claude 4 while running more than twice as fast at a lower price. It is aimed at chatbots, assistants, and browser extensions where quick responses matter. Anthropic positions Haiku to work alongside Claude Sonnet 4.5, a larger model for complex reasoning and autonomous computer use. The pitch is a division of labor where many Haiku instances handle routine steps, and the system escalates hard parts to Sonnet when needed.
Small brains, big savings. Management nightmare included.
Analysts note that this approach can reduce token spend versus running a single large model for everything, but there are trade-offs. A smaller model likely has a smaller context window and lower accuracy on tough tasks, and orchestrating multiple sub-agents introduces coordination challenges that few teams have fully solved. Anthropic is pushing this under competitive pressure as it courts enterprise customers and partners following major investment from Amazon and integrations with Salesforce. If the mix of Haiku and Sonnet delivers near flagship quality at a fraction of the cost, more companies may adopt advanced AI across high-volume workflows.
Herding bots sounds delightfully Sisyphean today.
Watch for real-world case studies that show whether teams can keep many small agents aligned without losing accuracy. Finally, Waymo maps a new route across the Atlantic.
London traffic meets Silicon patience and insurance uncertainty.
Reuters reports Waymo plans a fully driverless ride-hailing service in London in 2026, the company's first outside the United States. The Guardian says testing begins in the coming weeks with trained safety drivers in electric Jaguar I-Pace vehicles to map roads, gather sensor data, and teach the software roundabouts and left-side driving. Waymo will work with Transport for London and national regulators to secure permits before removing the human.
Nothing says safety like practice laps with humans.
Waymo is partnering with Move on fleet operations, including charging, maintenance, and logistics. The plan faces pushback. London's taxi leaders point to past hiccups in San Francisco and question whether the city's maze-like streets and unpredictable traffic are ready for robo-taxis. The UK is accelerating trials, but full legislation for widespread autonomous vehicles is not expected until at least 2027, which puts pressure on Waymo to prove safety and reliability first.
Robots ready. Laws still buffering for years.
Waymo cites over 100 million autonomous miles in the United States and says it runs about 250,000 rides a week with around 1,500 cars across several cities. If London signs off, it would be a landmark for autonomous vehicle technology in Europe and a signal that driverless services are moving into the international mainstream. That's all for New Tech Nightly. I'll be back tomorrow with a new episode.